Donna Marie Post, welcome to the Founder Talk podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here.
Grateful to be here. Grateful to serve.
Yeah. We were just talking about Sagittarius.
Yes.
And those signs. So are you a believer in those things?
Okay. So I grew up with a mom, back in the day when they had like Encyclopedia Britannicas on the wall.
Yeah.
And so the special edition of them, you would get these big stacks of horoscope books. And so I was middle school on the floor, memorizing all of them.
Really?
And so, I know you're adventurous.
But do you really think that
I'm curious about them.
Yeah.
I think there's alignment in them. I think there's a good
maybe.
Foundational trait where you can meet someone and get a baseline. It's like similar to Enneagram. I can nerd out on Enneagrams all day long.
So you are the founder of TEDx Arlington Heights.
Yes.
And you're a keynote curator, and then you do consulting for keynotes for people that wanted to get on stage, right?
Correct.
So I'm curious, like, is that a pretty accurate description? Is there anything else that just to give context for the audience in terms of what you do? And then we'll get into some of the TEDx and things like that.
Sure. So I would say, I normally tell people, well, first and foremost, I'm a stalker.
Yes, I've witnessed that firsthand.
I said it to you when I walked in. I'm a stalker of curious minds, innovative thoughts.
Yeah.
Innovative and, just disruptive ideas. Be curious. So the main thing I say everywhere is stay curious.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like a mantra I live by and kind of curate from. And so from that, I would also say a lot of the work that I do both in TEDx Arlington Heights and as a keynote consultant is typically I work with, I just believe everyone has a transformative idea in them.
Yeah.
So I work with leaders, speakers, executives, and I help them curate, innovate, and design their keynotes. And so I do this as a keynote consultant where I build out everyone, like a speaker's entire thought leadership ecosystem, which then, they can repurpose into their paid services. On the other end, as I do it as a head curator and the event planner for TEDx Arlington Heights, which is, for those that may or may not know, it is an independently organized TED event in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
We're going to get into the details there.
And so from there, I build out and curate speakers there.
I love it. I was researching about TED, and I know there's a difference between TED and TEDx as you were educating me on. But TED, I didn't know what it really stood for, where it came from, but it's technology, entertainment, and design.
Correct.
I did not know that. I didn't know if it was a guy named Ted or something, like just Ted
it could
something
be.
Like started it or
like
whatever.
the movie with the bear.
Yeah. But so what's the difference between so everyone knows, what's the difference between TED Talks and then TEDx?
Correct.
TED and TEDx.
So think of it like an umbrella. So you have like TED is like the main mothership in a way, and the main mothership of where all the ideas. And then from there, across the world, they then sublet it where you can actually get a license. So there's over 4,000 independently organized TED events across the world.
Wow.
And so TEDx Arlington Heights is one of them. So you can be wherever you're living right now and apply for a license to host your own TED event in your town. And so this is where you're actually going to be representing your community, bringing in talks and bringing your community together in your specific community versus TED.
St. Charles.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes. So wherever you're at, it is something where it's an opportunity to meet new people, bring diverse ideas together, businesses in the area. Yeah. It's a powerful way.
Huh. And what's that process like to bring one? If I wanted to do a TEDx St. Charles, let's say, or anyone listening is like, I'd love to do a TEDx.
Yeah.
I think there's some credibility
TEDx talk
involved in that. Yeah. And I'd be curious why you think that. But first of all, what's that process like?
Yes. I think it's different for everyone. So there are, like I mentioned, there are over 4,000 TEDx events across the world. So TED and TEDx gives you license regulations you have to follow. A little bit of red tape. Right. And so you need to stick to that, and we honor that. But then each of the different programs have their own way of curation. So for TEDx Arlington Heights, our way, we evolve and we change like we do in business. Yeah. We started where you can apply online. So right now you could go to TEDxArlingtonHeights.com and apply online. And also you can be invited. So for someone, you can apply online and put an idea on there that is in line with the conference theme that we have for that year. Or you just build out an incredible branding, messaging, and how you're living and serving in the world, and we find you and we invite you into the space because what you're putting in the world or the thought leadership you're putting out there might be aligned with that brand. And in regards to that and how from there you can apply, or we can invite you. And we kind of evolved. First year, we did it where we invited everyone. We always keep the applications open, but I think that's something we can get into later. It's not everyone knows how to apply.
Right.
And that's something I could even serve and help in that realm.
But what if you want to start your own?
Yeah. So if you want to start your own, you go on TED.com. And I think it's like you click down and you put TEDx talk, TEDx event, and you apply online. And there's an entire application on there. And you can do it. Does
everyone get approved or what?
I mean, I can't speak for that. I wouldn't know from Ted's perspective, but I imagine yes and no.
Yeah.
You have to pretty much build out an entire conference. So they're asking you.
Oh, before you get approved,
you
got to show
you
that
have
you're
to be able to show that
good.
can you create an idea, right? Can you come up with innovative ideas? Where are you at? And you also have to live in the town in which you are creating it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
So you, for example, you live in St. Charles, but you couldn't do
Geneva.
TEDx Geneva.
Okay.
Right. And then it takes anywhere between 3 to 8 weeks for them to go through it. And then once you are approved, then you can either apply to be a nonprofit or not be one. And then you get an entire team and you build it out from there. But typically the whole process from the time you apply, I mean, sometimes even people who create their application, that can take you months, if not a year.
Yeah.
Because you're really trying to figure out what are you building?
Right.
What are you creating?
Yeah.
So that process alone can take time.
And does it cost to register or no?
No, everything in TEDx and TED, again, I'm a representation of TEDx Arlington Heights, but at Globe they're a nonprofit. So everything is free.
Wow.
Right?
Just builds their brand, I guess,
but
right?
We'll say free, but be mindful. Capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to set the stage, the lighting, the camera, the production, the, marketing. There's a lot of cost involved to put on one of those.
You're a volunteer.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm a volunteer. I'm the executive director of our nonprofit. I'm the head curator and founder. I have an entire team that's been doing this for 3 years. We all do this on top of all of our other work that we do and how most of our volunteers are powerhouses that work full-time jobs. They're executives, lawyers, doctors, you name it. And then they do this on top of their second or third volunteering, and they're still serving the community. And they're trying to bring together these ideas in the world. So its capacity is the cost.
And what is the appeal of doing or putting on a TEDx and why do you do it?
Well, I'll speak for myself we lived in the Forest Park area first, right? And Forest Park, Oak Park area, and it's very diverse. And when I moved to Arlington Heights, I'm a woman of color and a woman of diversity, and there wasn't a lot that I was seeing there. And I moved from an area like Oak Park, Forest Park area that was very active. And when I moved to Arlington Heights at the time, it wasn't as active. And I thought, what is a way? And I've always been a TED Talk junkie.
Yeah.
I'm
There's a lot of good ones out there.
self-personal development, lover, and can bathe in all that stuff, podcasts.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can I take something that I love to do, which is inspire, impact, and influence people, and bring the community together? Basis of TEDx Arlington Heights is to, highlight diverse voices, diverse backgrounds, incredible businesses, and kind of bring it together. So bring your community together. Like bring them together, highlight the powerful voices and stories that aren't being seen, not just the celebrities that are out in the world or the people that are viral online, but there's someone next door to you that could have a powerful idea that you didn't even know of. Or in our case, a high schooler from Barrington High School in 2025 we had.
So what about from a revenue standpoint? I'm curious because obviously a lot of founders, business owners listening. And I think this is good to know because I think we all know TED and TEDx, but we don't really know the behind the scenes or how you would start it, how you join it, how it works. And we're definitely going to get into, how to deliver a perfect keynote speech or, or maybe it's not perfect, but a top notch or top 1%. I want to get into that stuff too.
Okay.
But what's the model in terms of revenue, or is it a brand builder, community builder for you? What's that angle? I'm curious.
For the speakers of TEDx?
For you putting it on, you running your own TEDx.
Yes. So for me, it's in a way, in regards to my keynote business, you're saying the connection is, in a way, it's people get to see what we're creating, right? They get to see what I'm building. I curate the entire, I am the head curator of all, we'll say 7 to 8 speakers are on that program. And so this is at high level. This is an iconic brand. You're putting into anywheres of a curation process of 4 to 7 months, right?
Wow.
Like TEDx Arlington Heights is a 5-month curation process. That doesn't even include the selection process. And so you are meeting the most incredible, powerful, anyway from high schoolers that have innovative ideas to people that have been in this business for 2-3 years and industry leaders, and you're bringing them together and you're creating their ideas from scratch, because these are ideas that don't exist already in the world and ones that they've never put on before, and you're building them from seed to stage. So for me, that becomes, even though it's a nonprofit, this becomes in a way my marketing tool in which I can then share, hey, from this thought leadership, you can expand this into a keynote that then becomes what I mentioned earlier, that entire thought leadership ecosystem that then can become courses, digital, PDFs. It can become a book. It can become a retreat or anything else. So it kind of funnels there. So while nonprofit work is volunteer, it does funnel into the work that I do on the side of there. And so that helps build into meeting speakers that I meet there. Normally we don't tend to my speakers become my clients, but they may know someone because all the work I do is through referral because they've gone through the experience.
Right.
So did that answer?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And my follow-up question was, what's the benefit of someone starting their own TEDx versus just saying, I'm going to do a conference or an event by myself?
I mean, it goes back to that first question, capacity, right? Like it is such an undertaking. It is an undertaking that you can't believe. So a founder and entrepreneur listening, you built your business, right? And remember when you first started, you were doughy-eyed, it was glowy, it was glamorous, it was all of those fun, starry-eyed things. It all starts out like that. Sounds so sexy, doesn't it? It's sexy.
And then you hit your first rough patch, like, all right, this is for real.
No, but then you realize, okay, now you're leading an entire team of volunteers, which means these are not paid employees.
Right.
That are doing this on top of their job. And
now, why are they doing it? What's motivating them?
For the same reason that all of us at TED are TED is to put out big ideas, to believe in these ideas, to create the impact, influence, ultimately to do something that's bigger than yourself and to help someone else's legacy. This is legacy work, right? Remind me what the question was.
Well, my original question was, why would you, if I
do a TED?
Well, let's say I want to start something in St. Charles. I'm like, it sounds like a nice idea to get a TEDx St. Charles going, and I can lead it, bring people in. Maybe it's an opportunity to market, win clients, whatever it might be, share messages, make an impact. Why would I go the TEDx route when I could just say, I'm going to do an event called St. Charles Entrepreneurs, right?
Got it. That would be like, my mind goes to, why would you create an event that's just yours when you can attach it to like the Oscars?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have a global iconic brand that's been around for over 40 years. This is instant connection. You're going to be able to draw and bring forward businesses and speakers that are already wanting to connect themselves to that brand.
And there's no licensing cost anyway.
Correct.
So it's like,
yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like, do you want to start your own coffee shop or do you put up a Starbucks? Everyone's going to instantly know the Starbucks
I think you're
brand
still going to have the impact along the way. Like Alex Sheridan just created TEDx. I mean, it would still happen, but it's going to be easier because, again, you're doing this as nonprofit work or volunteer work. So reaching out and saying, hey, we're doing a TEDx event in our area that's bringing people together. People typically know what that is.
Right. Yeah.
But also not everyone knows what it is. But you have to do less education because you didn't have to build that website. You didn't have to build this entire infrastructure. It's already there.
Oh, okay. Got it. So what about the local website you plug into, but it's got,
I mean, we still build ours from ground up, but you still have like a mothership,
and I agree. I think there is the same way if you have a reputable podcast that has its own site and social channels and good quality content. I think when people see it, they go, oh, wow, this is like I'd feel honored to be a part of this. Yeah. Versus if it's just like some whatever named event that's going on, they're like, I've never heard of this before. As soon as they hear TED, they're like, this feels like something big. It feels like some.
See your eyes lit up.
Yeah.
See exactly. That's that.
It's the brand.
Tell me more.
It's
Say
brand.
more.
And that's really brand, right? Yeah. Versus trying to guess if something might be a small little thing that never does anything. They know, well, if this is TED, it's probably something pretty significant.
Correct.
Because you do got to go through some hoops to even get, signed up for it and put one on, and then it's the volunteers and a lot of effort. So if you're doing all that, the event you could assume should be pretty good.
Yeah.
And pretty credible.
I would also, a story came to mind when I was hearing you say that is at the time when I did the license, there's a story in which when I did the license, is that okay to share it? And then once I got it, another experience. So something to consider if you are.
Okay.
at the time I had over 10 years of neurological challenges, health journey that I went on that I wasn't expecting, and everything kind of hit the wall, and, crap hit the fan per se. And I found myself in November of 2022, could at the time be on a laptop longer for an hour, couldn't, I was in dark rooms with, eye masks on, had no access to electronics because I was healing my brain. And when I applied to it, what happens is make sure you're applying from a space of service.
Yeah.
Like, because this was bigger than me. Everyone that comes, I always say, I don't chase the called, the calling chase the called. They chase the calling, right?
Yeah.
Because really that space was when I did do the application, it wasn't for myself. So much of everything before I had all those neurological challenges and those setbacks, I remember a long time ago being like, if only I had a TEDx talk, if only I was a New York Times bestselling author, if only my LinkedIn had so many followers. And then I would be validated, approved, and I would be worthy and would soothe my ego. Mountain, check, check, check. But then when you go through something like that, and then here I was, I didn't even know when I applied, I didn't even know there was such thing that you could apply for an event the same way you might not have known.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know
so
that.
I just knew that I wanted to be a TEDx speaker. And then if I could be a TEDx speaker, then all the doors would open and be done. But then when I came across this, and again, spiritually speaking, I was called to do that work. At the time, again, I was in a space, I could not even be on a laptop for an hour, more or less lead an entire organization with over 40 people, a production team, partners, volunteers. That's a huge undertaking.
Right.
And so you learn to surrender on that process, but then something to consider if that is a journey someone is going on is once I did get it, Alex, is I didn't tell anyone for 2 months. The imposter syndrome that comes with you are now representing not just yourself, right? Because we all want to be that initially connect ourselves to the brand for ego, right? Which a lot of the work I do is around that ego work. But now you have to lay that all down and realize, okay, so for 2 months, I didn't tell anyone. It's such imposter syndrome. What would people think? Who am I to put this event on, right? And these are things that may or may not, if they don't happen initially, because you're like, let's freaking go.
Yeah.
They'll come along the way when you have speakers that say no to you.
Yeah.
They'll come along the way when you've had 100 partners say no.
Yeah.
They'll come along the way when your venue says yes and then doesn't say, says no down the line. So it's really being willing to have a level of rejection and to be willing to, as much as there's so much ego connected to that, the work that we do, is also being able to be mindful of your ego and laying it down.
I think it's very similar when people are creating video content or doing a podcast. And I work with a lot of successful founders. 7, 8-figure B2B, business owners. And I'm always surprised, maybe not surprised anymore, but I was in the beginning of how many of them were like petrified to get on camera or like, hey, or they'd say something like, well, I don't want to talk on LinkedIn about stuff. People are going to think I'm a know-it-all. Like, who am I? And I'm like, no. It's not you trying to say you know it all or like brag. It's you trying to make an impact.
Yes.
It's you trying to teach somebody something and share an inspiring story that makes someone go, wow, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should do that. I never thought of something that way. It's a unique perspective that you have in the market that no one else has right now. It's to your point about the service, if you look at it like I'm going to go out and serve people, it's a different approach than I'm going to go out and try to sell something or try to like tell people about my company all day. The same way with networking events, right? That's a very easy comparison. And you go to networking events and you can tell right away that people are like, hi, my name is John. Here's my number. Here's my card. Do you have a real estate agent already? And it's like, dude, just chill out, man. But then there's certain people that you meet that they ask you questions. They're like, hey, what brought you here? And tell me more about your business. That's really cool. Like, how'd you get into that? And you start conversations, you start building relationships. And it's the same thing online or whether it's TEDx or whatever it is. I think that mental hurdle from creating content, whatever, if it's in person, if it's starting something, if it's a business, that's a big one that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't ever get past.
Yeah. And I connect the dots too. What would you say, so for your content that you have, and also for a TEDx talk, a TEDx Arlington Heights talk, or a keynote is, everyone talks about authentic. And they're like, okay, I get like itches about the word authentic because what's it mean in everyone? I get it. I love skepticism. Skepticism's like my best friend. Yeah. It's like where innovation plays. But what would your true voice say if they were on a camera? Like, say what you're going to say. if you were really going to say it
That's right.
in the mirror, in your bedroom to your best friend. And also, ready, what would you say if it wasn't, you weren't trying to be liked?
Yes.
And you weren't trying to be liked, but you were willing and open, not to necessarily be vulnerable, but to not be at the hands and the mercy of your ego of validation and approval.
That's a big
so
one.
much of what the difference between a great TEDx Arlington Heights talk and a one that would never even make it through to selection is one that is saying it in the way that we are all cookie cutter, AI generated, meant to say it because it's the safe way.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to what I call like Pollyanna cracker talks, where we all say it because we mimic it. Like, okay, Alex Sheridan said it this way, or someone else said it this way. So I'm going to look left and I'm going to look right and I'm going to take left and right and I'm going to mimic what they say. But the key part is that when they go do the videos that you're speaking of, or the TEDx Talk keynote is, no, look left or right, be inspired by them, and then come back and ask, but what's my true?
That's right.
Like, what's my truth? How would I truly say that? And so many of us won't say it. Say, it sucks. It's bogus. Say it's the mothership energy. Say it's, wrap it out. Like, so many people are like, don't do that. But that's what makes innovation and disruption,
That's really great advice.
It's really the difference. And I would say if you're speaking of it goes hand in hand with a TEDx talk or a keynote, is so many people will ask me, and you kind of said, if they'll come up to me and they'll say, I'm a great speaker. If you're looking for a speaker, think of me. But that's not serving.
Yeah. What's your message?
Yeah. And even, I wouldn't even say, what's your message? Think of the listener. This has everything. When you serve, everything you do is for the listener.
Yes.
From the moment you enter the building.
Yes.
You're there for the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If your heart's beating fast, I will always say, it's because you're thinking about yourself.
Yes, that's so true.
Right? So if you're in your car and you say, I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
This isn't about me.
Yeah.
Right? Then it changes it. And so when you think of a TEDx talk or a keynote talk, or when you're being on video, a lot of that time comes to be, if I were to say what I was going to say without worrying about what I was going to say for me and how that's going to make me look. Because so many of us are like, what if I mess up? What are they going to think? What if this doesn't do well? Well, I need this to like funnel into my business later on, or I need to funnel to the book sale. What if I don't say the right thing and he doesn't cut the video well and then I can't use it later, versus just show up and serve.
Yeah. I always say the best content creators on planet Earth are selfless.
Yes.
And they think about anything, the message, the post, the interactions they have. They think about how is this serving my audience? What would they get from it? It's actually a big fundamental shift that I have to make with clients early on. Most of them. Some of them, every now and then, one of them just, they get it. And they're like, I'm like, wow, you're nice to work with because you just understand it fundamentally from the get-go.
Those are
But most of them are like, they start thinking about their bit. And it's not like a terrible thing. It's just like a natural, okay, I'm putting something out. It should grow my business, build my brand. And I'm like, no. Nothing. We're not going to tag your company page on every post. We're not going to mention what you do. We're not going to talk about your services all day, every day. We're going to you're going to share things that are going to help people, and you're not going to ask for anything in return. And they're like, well, then how are we going to get stuff in return? And I'm like, because you're putting out good.
Yes.
And people will trust you and find you credible, and they'll want to come to you when they're ready to buy something that they see you as a potential, influencer or expert in, or whatever you want to call it. That is it. And it's the same thing on stage. Obsess. And the same with this podcast. Yeah. I'm like, how do I extract insights and stories and knowledge from Donna Marie Post? How do I contribute things that are beneficial to all of y'all watching right now? What's up? That's what it's all about. And if you put out good comes back to you. You don't even got to worry about it.
I love high five to that.
Yeah. That's a wrap. No,
yes.
I'm good.
It makes me think how you are speaking of your clients and how you are disrupting their norm and the way they were thinking.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll piggyback on that to say is a lot of the time when people ask, well, how do you make a great TEDx talk, or how do you make a great keynote? And I would say, consider this. Are you ready? What would your idea be? So transformative idea. So that can be for your video that they're creating, short form, their TEDx talk, 18 minutes or less, or a keynote, right? What would your idea be if you couldn't speak to your experience? I call it your LinkedIn fancy. You can't speak to your experience, anything that's on your LinkedIn. So any achievements you've had, any awards you've had, any foundations you've created. If you couldn't, what would your idea be if you can't speak to that? What would your idea be if you couldn't share your story? You know, I hurt my brain. I laid in there. I couldn't be on for an hour at a laptop. If you couldn't share your story. And what would your idea be if you couldn't use words that I call empowerment candy, which are like those saturated ones that are like empowerment, activate, you know, better you, better me, better community, all the things that are just like our brain skyrocketing starts to like go into autopilot. We self-narrating.
Those are ChatGPT words.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, skyrocket emojis.
If you couldn't say those three things, what would you say in your video content? What would you say in your TEDx talk?
That's it.
And what would you say in your keynote if you could not talk about anything that can be found on your LinkedIn, that you couldn't share your story, and that you couldn't use saturated empowerment candy words? That is the answer in 7 or 10 words with a period at the end of it. And then after you figure that out, then you can go back and give that idea stories to support it, results that have happened. But what we're doing, so many of us, is what result do I want, right? Which is great, like what's your key message and how you want to impact the listener. But so much of that drives it away from transformation, right? And so it's really something to consider.
Ask not what you can do or what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
You better get it right.
That's such a, it's an old, JFK phrase. I think that's what he said. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, or something like, it's very close to that. But it's basically saying like, stop asking what your country can give to you and start asking what you can give to your country. And it's the same for your audience. You know, it's like, I do believe you should be results driven and you should think about what's the plan here? What are we trying to accomplish and things like that. But you also can say, how are we going to impact the hell out of this audience and have them walk away changing their lives, or teaching them something that they are going to go and just use to completely, level up their life or their business, or it can be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Doesn't have to be either or. And also there's this mindfulness that the work I do, a lot of it is the transformation in any stage that you're at is owning in that you are a vessel of a transformation. You are a vessel for someone else's. So I even stray away from the word using the audience, because audience means performance. Audience means you to me. I'm here and you watch. So the work I do is to say, rethink the word audience and rethink the word listener or activator.
That's what you call
listener,
it?
Listener is as in like, I'm telling a story, and that can, transform a transformation, and that I'm going to help you rethink or reconsider thing. Or an activator, which I'm actually having you, transform into a behavior from here to here, or an action to take. Versus an audience, if you are, I coach speakers to think, if you walk in thinking they're an audience, they're there for you. You're there to perform. And in a lot of the ways that activates in, speakers, leaders, executives, that activates, all my executive presence, it activates performance, executive presence. And I call that death by professionalism, because now you're walking into a space that says, I'm the one that was on the marketing post. I was the one that's on the piece of paper. I'm the one they're all coming here to be a part of. And even though you're like, okay, I'm here to serve, you're in your car, but just that mindset of just, no, you are there to go ahead. You
this is great. No, that's why I love these conversations. Just like, hey, you have a couple key points here and there, but let's take this conversation wherever it goes. I've heard many times before, and you've probably heard this too, the thing that people fear more than death, or I think it's maybe the thing that people fear second to death, is speaking on stage in front of people. Have you heard that?
Many times.
It's like one of the number one fears people have, other than dying. I think maybe it's number one, but maybe, I don't know. We'll have to look at the data, but it's high up there. It's like one or two. People are just deathly afraid of speaking in front of listeners.
I will say.
Why do you think that is, though?
Well, I would say my land is skepticism.
And
it's to me everything. And skepticism is the best friend of innovation, is to say, is it about public speaking or is it about being seen? Right? Like initially, it's not the actual speaking. It's about being seen.
That's a good point. It is.
Think about,
because if you just stood on the stage with not saying anything, you'd still feel the same, like, oh, this is weird. Why is everyone looking at me?
So the work I do is, again, it's the inner transformation within yourself. It's not the public speaking itself. It's about being seen right now.
Yeah.
Right now I'm speaking to you, but am I okay with being seen that there's 3 cameras on me right now?
Yeah.
And knowing that this is going to go to LinkedIn and Facebook and will my mind be in this conversation and present enough?
Right.
Right? Will I be in my body present enough? Or am I so focused on who's going to see it?
Performance, right? Yeah.
Who's going to see it? What are they going to think of me? So is it really public speaking? Or is it the inner parts of us that those small voices, the insecurities that say, what will people think?
How do you get past that, though? How do you get past that? Because I think a lot of people want to be liked. They get on stage. They're wondering, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me? It sounds like you went through that mental journey yourself. How did you get past it?
Well, I think one is to step into the suckage of it.
Yeah.
Just step into that and be aware of it.
Yeah.
I will say it's nothing that you can do. There is no quick fix to that. I mean, of course, you can have therapists and life coaches and all these things, but that's inner work. This is work that you have to sit down on yourself. This is being aware and to ask the tough questions about who are you, the things that have formed you, all these other deep explanatory, deep self-discovery work. But I think how do you get past it is you don't get past it. You sit in it. You be present in it. Right now, okay, I'm across from Alex. There's 3 cameras on me. It doesn't matter that I've been doing this for years and then I'm a badass at this. I'm an expert at what I do and I'm fierce. Oh my gosh, what if he asks me a question and I don't know the answer to it? Just the awareness of, okay,
you don't know.
I'm not going to know.
Yeah.
And just being completely, the word to this is you surrender. That's how you get over it, is you surrender to that not everyone is going to like you. And so much of it's like, well, how do I make sure that I'm as likable as possible? But surrender that you're not going to be, and surrender that you're not going to have the right answer. Surrender that you're going to have to maybe have the question asked again. And that's part of it, is surrender to the process of self-discovery, surrender to the process of not knowing it all, surrender to the process of staying curious, surrender to the process of evolution. And so many of us, the TEDx Arlington Heights journey of being a curator or being a keynote speaker, it's like strapping a mirror to your face. You know what, a friend, I went to lunch with him and he goes, the work you do, it's not easy work because you're so many people, they're excited to work with you, but not many people want to walk into a breakthrough.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Ask yourself, are you willing to walk around and have a breakthrough? You start a podcast. Are you willing to have a breakthrough in the things that you're going to discover as you as a podcast host? The things, the insecurities or the things that you're going to learn. There's a mirror that's going to follow you and show you all of those things. And so just the surrender that's part of the process. And I think the part of, in the land of celebration, because I'm like, normally I have a blue pom-pom cheerleading everyone, is the land of celebration is as you surrender, look back, I'm a huge reflector.
Yeah.
Part of the way is how you continue your success is, so many of us, I'm really big on speakers of like, how can you celebrate yourself today? What about this do you want to celebrate? Because so much of us like, okay, hit that dollar amount mark I made on a keynote, check. Got that TEDx talk, check. But you have to celebrate all the steps that made that one end goal.
Yeah.
Because if not, then you're just constantly in the rat race of, am I going to be enough today? What if I'm seeing too much? I should have said that differently. You get in the car and you start overthinking what you did or didn't say. It's like a craziness.
Kill yourself with that, man. You can just drive yourself crazy. Yes. Man, it's so wild how we can get in our own heads and just go down rabbit holes and just completely defeat ourselves if we're not careful. I think a lot of confidence comes with, to me, when I think of a confident person, I think they're able to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Were they able to pause? They're able to think about that. I'm not sure.
Stillness.
Yeah. And they're not trying to, I think, typically in my experience, it's people trying to constantly kind of, again, appease. I want to come across as I know stuff, or I'm an expert, or I don't want to, come across like I don't know something. So to me, confidence is being able to say, I'm not sure. Or to be still.
No, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah. Pause. Reflect for a second. Not feeling like you got to have something to say.
Yeah.
Similar on dates, right? Where it's like, You go on
this
a
is a
blind,
date.
You go on a, it's a podcast.
I literally told myself, I was like, this is my date for the day.
That's funny.
Dress well, smell good.
Yeah,
you know?
you're doing it. You're doing it.
You did the right coffee.
That's right. I got you hooked up.
Yes.
But I think about the same way where it's like, if you go on a date and you do have that, especially the first one or first couple, there's an awkward silence, right? And it's like kind of like being willing to just embrace that and say, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We don't have to say something every single second of the conversation. But if you notice when you're with someone for a while and you've been in a relationship, you're perfectly fine not saying anything. Have you noticed that? Like, you could go a minute and just enjoy it. And sometimes that's nice. You're just eating lunch and you're just like not saying anything. And you're not worried about, all right, what should I say next? What should I They're not going to think I'm conversational. They're not going to think we have a vibe or whatever it is. You worry about that stuff more on the first, second date. Yeah. Once you've been together, it's like, I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm just trying to be me.
Yeah. Because you're not worrying. Again, goes back validation, approval, all stems from our ego and our insecurities. Again, but no one wants to do that work. Everyone's just like, let's have viewers. Let's get at this. Let's make this money. Yeah. But again, the transformation starts here in order to be able to have this effectively. But speaking of dates, a funny story is every time I go to a restaurant, I always, remember how you said there's pauses between people who have been, I love to play this game where I go, okay, how long have they been together? And are they married? Are they dating? Because body language and how people are with each other in presence says a lot. Totally. So I'm like, I recently was on a solo trip for my birthday, New Year's Day, baby, woo woo.
Yeah, nice.
And brought myself on a little luxury trip, and I was sitting there, and there was this couple, and they were so attentive to each other. They were asking such deep, thorough questions. I was like, there is no way they are married or dating for a long time, because the questions were so exploratory and silence wasn't happening in regards to what you're saying. And so we're going back to what we do, right? Helping people step into their thought leadership, their visibility, their influence, and their impact is, it's okay to just be still, be in the presence, right? And a lot of the work that we do, it's an energetic exchange. So
I think that plays a role on stage too, right? I mean,
correct.
It's the same thing. It's can you be on stage and pause for a second? To me, that's confidence. That's someone that is understanding of the stage and the listeners, and is not, I need to say something, otherwise they're going to think I don't know what the hell I'm doing or I don't belong on stage. It's like that. Like they can sit there and just pause and just look at the audiences that they're like, what's going on? They're more eager when you pause, I think, because they're in anticipation now and they sense the confidence.
Disrupts them.
It does.
And when you disrupt a listener, this is where transformation happens. Because remember, it's like a Hallmark movie. You look at me and they're like, oh my God, Alex likes her. Okay, they're going to date. No, she's going to say no. And they start self-narrating the entire talk or the entire video. So they check out, right? But when you go up there and you have the pause, they're like, what's happening? They're into it. So what I do for every TEDx Arlington Heights conference at the end of the year, I stand on stage, and it's a commitment I've made to myself for 3 years now. I go up there and I do my normal, I'm like a hype girl. And then I go up there and I go, I've made a promise to myself. One of our TEDx Arlington Heights speakers the first year did a talk about micro transitions. And so really every single space, you go watch the TEDx talk, TEDx Arlington Heights talk, and by Kristen Camella. And when you go up there, every time you enter a room, every meeting, the space, you take a micro transition and you pause. So when I get up on stage, I pause. That already disrupts the norm, because what is she doing? She's not performing right away. And then I say, I promised myself that I would not rush into this experience, because this is a 9-month, 10-month process. So I'm just going to watch and stare at all of you guys right now and take this in for the next 20, 30 seconds. And you can stare at my really cute outfit, but I don't want to miss this. And I don't want to perform this. So I literally stand on stage and
that's good.
Creepily stare at them.
I have always thought of this idea the last couple of years, and maybe I'll try it. Maybe it's stupid. You could tell me.
Okay.
Since you're an expert in this.
And I will tell you candidly.
I know you will. I know, that's why I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yes, the audience is going to get to hear this. And then I also want to talk about my personal experiences on stages.
Let's do it.
But
is this live coaching for the coffee?
Yeah, exactly. Here's my idea. I wanted to come on stage during the next keynote or speed, whatever I'm doing. And I just wanted to sit there in silence before I say anything. So they introduced, Alex, comes out, and I just sit there. And the audience, you start to hear kind of the little rumbling. And then I just say oh, am I supposed to say something? And get a little reaction and then get into the stuff.
Do it.
And then I would lead into how, if I was talking about marketing, let's say, I would lead into the importance of earning attention and creating a gap in curiosity, right?
Okay.
Maybe that's my message if it was like a marketing type, talk or whatever it might be. It's just a thought I had. I thought I had about just kind of disrupting.
Yes.
Everyone gets on stage and says, good morning, how you doing?
Yes.
Da-da-da. And just to sit there for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and just take it in and let the audience think, what is coming? What is going on right now?
Yeah.
And then say, did I get your attention?
So then I'll play off that.
Yeah.
Live coaching in the morning, right?
Yeah. She's like, that was terrible. But
no,
I'll tell you now.
let's build off that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So you go up and you disrupt the norm.
Yeah.
And you go up there, they're expecting it, they say it, there's this quiet. I would determine what's true to you and what that silence looks like. Are you smiling at them? Are you still at them? Do you look like a creepy stalker next to them? Or are you just
That's
peaceful?
important. Yeah.
Right. So you really need to be mindful of what's true to you and what that stillness looks like. So don't perform that stillness, because that also, remember, energetic exchange, so they can feel that. And then before you go into that, what was that line you were going to say? You said a line.
Oh, am I supposed to say something?
Yeah, am I supposed to say something, which is charming.
Yeah.
Right? So I have a whole thing about how I always encourage speakers that are struggling before they go on stages to say, what am I? I'm charming.
Nice.
Energetically. So you say that. That's charming. So that brings everyone down, that you're, makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You're easeful or approachable. But then before you launch into all that marketing, I would say, how did that make you feel? Sit. The key part of when you have short form TEDx talk keynote is this is all for the listener. So you don't jump. We jumped to gap, right? We were charming, and then we went into information. But now they're like, what was that whole thing at the beginning? That was cute and charming.
Mm-hmm.
I like them. That's great. And now we're in information. But like, what did that make you? So connect the dots.
You gotta
Like,
go a little
what did
deeper.
that make you? So for you, that might have been like, what is he doing? Why did you just say it in their voice that's in their head? Be the skeptic. Remember, I keep saying it. Skepticism is your friend. So meet the skeptic in the room. That is like, think of the worst thing the skeptic in the room would say to you is like, what is he doing? Be like, you probably heard that and thought, maybe you heard that and thought, why did I forget what I said? Or maybe one of you thought was like, that was cute and charming. He's so cute, Alex Shot. And then the next one you might be like, and give a few voices of what a skeptic and be like, then go into, those are the different voices. Now, whatever your listener, remember, stray away from audience, activators or listeners are having, then you can go into your message. The most powerful, what makes it transformative is that you're including everyone in the room, because the skeptic is the one that has the most transformation to make. Remember how you spoke about the clients that you meet?
Yeah.
And you're like the ones that are all on board. You're like, yay, those are easy. But those aren't the ones, no offense to them, but they're not the ones you're going home telling everyone about. But it's the ones that were like, took you 3 months or 6 months or 6 years to build, and they didn't want to say yes to you. And now they're like, I'm a believer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool. I love this conversation.
Yeah.
So let me get into a couple. I wanted to share a couple of my experiences speaking on stage. It kind of goes into what we're talking about, but I've done a handful of keynote speeches, some paid, some were not paid.
Yep.
And I just so last year I did this one where it was like 300 some people. I mean, and for me if you don't think that's a lot, you've never gotten on stage, get in front of 300 people.
Get in front of one.
Yeah. And you'll see when you look out. And so to me, and I was really excited and I was pumped up, but I noticed that when I was in front of like 50 people or 100 people, 150 people, if the lighting was a little darker on the audience, I felt more comfortable. But this was like the whole room was bright and there was 300 something people there. And I remember getting on stage and I was prepared and I got my thing and stuff. But I remember just feeling like a little
disconnected.
Yeah, and I felt like good with the audience and stuff, with the listeners, but I feel like I kind of had that blackout moment of like, I didn't lose my train of thought. I did my thing. I was very prepared, but I feel like I wasn't able to like really sit in it and enjoy it. And like, it was like I was going through it, where I noticed another one that was a little bit smaller. I felt more comfortable. And I think it's maybe just the size. Yeah. It's just like, wow, this is a big crew here. I want to do good for them and I don't want to mess up and those types of things. So I'm curious if you see that, have you seen that with yourself? Is it the size? Is it what is it?
I think it depends on the person, but just a few thoughts that come to mind is, first is a a tactic or a strategy to help you. So one, I would just ultimately decide every speaker is different, right? Like some podcasters might do a group. You might have a co-host that is, right for you.
Yeah.
You're doing it solo. So figuring out, this is all trial by, curiosity.
Yeah.
Right. So did you like the 300? Was it really about the lights, or was that you didn't like the size of it and the connection? Asking deep, reflective, get curious about it. Or do you really like the intimate and you stick to the empowerment of that? So as a speaker, you can really decide what kind of speaking gigs and venues really speak to you. You can have the similar impact, depending. So you also don't want to keep putting yourself in experiences that don't feel true to you.
Right.
But we'll say you're staying curious and you're like, the next 300, 500, let's manifest 1,000.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's a strategy for you. Go home and practice, you should be practicing. Let's just, everyone, if you're going to stand in front of any version of a crowd, you should know your stuff.
Yeah,
so you should
definitely.
be practicing
Oh,
and
yeah, you
knowing
gotta
it. We're not
practice a
going to
lot.
show up.
Yes.
I want you to put on the TV, the music, put the barking dog in your room, or even go outside and go to a festival, right? Put in earbuds. There's no music in it. And I want you to be around noise, be around chaos, and get used to practicing what it's like to be disrupted by all the different senses that are happening to you, so that when you do stand on a stage like that, this is all repetition.
Yeah.
It's like exposure therapy.
Yeah.
So with the speakers, we do listening sessions. I'm putting them exposure therapy.
Yeah. You throw shit at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you say throw something. I think I
punch them in the face.
Okay, are you ready for this?
That's good.
At TEDx Arlington Heights, if speakers if they're not doing movements that we need them to do in order to be as powerful as they need to, I come up with a Nerf gun.
Nice. Do you really? That's funny.
And I tell them, I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to give you like 2 more listening sessions. And if it doesn't change, here's the things in order to get you there. If it's not moving on your own, we're bringing in my son's Nerf gun. And I shoot them because it disrupts the norm. It makes you stay in your idea, and it disrupts you to get out of your head. So taking in all this exposure therapy, being shot with a Nerf gun, you're at at a market, a farmer's market, we'll even say, put your earbuds in and start doing your talk and see all the things coming at you, order food, but can you say it? So that when you're on a stage of 300 people, when the lights go black, you're already conditioned with all the different sounds, all the different
disruptions.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
And so many of us are doing this where? In the mirror?
Oh, totally.
By ourselves.
Or in a living room, silent.
In the car.
No disruptions.
Right? Of course, you're going to get on stage and someone's going to cough or shift, or the person you had the eyesight with, they went to the bathroom? Now what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So really just exposing. So hopefully that helps.
No, that's
what
good.
do you think when you hear that?
That's really good. I mean, I think, I did practice pretty much every time I've been on stage. I practice like alone in my living room or in front of like my 2 daughters or something, or whatever. And it was always in like controlled environments.
Yes.
And so I think just like the military does, they don't train for like the perfect day ever, no rain, no enemies. They go hard.
Yes.
So when they get into actual battle, it actually feels easy. And I think that's the same thing you're talking about here.
Bring your daughters to a playground. I don't know what age they are.
12
and let them be loud. Don't tell them to be quiet. Don't tell them to turn on the music.
Yeah.
Do dishes. I tell speakers all the time, go home and do the dishes. Don't tell anyone to turn anything down. Be totally present. I also, it's all about preparation, right? It's about you're shock therapying yourself is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Your shock therapy, if like, okay, I'm going to wear my sweatpants and practice at home or in my car in the silence, and I'm going to wear my sweatpants and then show up all of a sudden in this 3,500 stage or on a TEDx stage or as a keynote. And all of a sudden I'm curious why this all feels very overwhelming. Versus we'll say you wear heels, wear heels while you do dishes and move around. So you're used to being in that movement, right? If you're going to be doing your talk in a tie, throw a tie on and then go in the backyard and with the loud lawnmower, do your talk.
Yeah. And someone walking by, so it feels awkward,
Correct.
right? Don't be like, oh, someone's coming, I got to stop. Just
and say hi.
Let more people the barrier, you know what I mean? It doesn't even matter.
Less shock therapy, more exposure therapy.
That's really good. What are some of the other advice or insights you'd have for people that want to get on stage and do more keynotes? What are some of the biggest mistakes people make?
Well,
that we haven't talked about?
okay, I was going to say, so again, the Pollyanna cracker is like really, I'll just say that quickly is to go back to it is look left or right, be inspired by people, but come back to yourself because ultimately people are going to look at you and go, oh, I've heard that before, right? So stray away from that. I would also
the same thing in content,
correct?
Too, online,
like,
same thing.
Don't get caught up in that because comparison also enters that door if you want it to it or not. And that's like inviting that in. When I do TEDx Arlington Heights, I don't look at any other TEDx talk. I don't even look to see who their speakers are or anything like that because that will cloud what we're creating. And so stay focused on what you're building. Also, again, going back to the true to yourself, I also, maybe to go a little bit deeper is so many of us, it's all connection to what we're saying is you're creating for your ICA, right? That ideal customer avatar. I would say, but curate for that person who is the furthest away from your ICA, right? Create for that person. Because if you're creating for that person when you're getting started, you're going to cover everybody else that are raving fans that know it. And get into it by, you can also, if you've never spoken before, join some of the speaking bureaus like Toastmasters. Yeah. There's also, I'm a member of NSA, which is National Speakers Association. They're more so, they do have like a speaking program, but also they can help you like learn the businesses and the ins and outs of how to be a speaker, but also go to conferences.
Yeah.
Go to seminars. And you want to know what I do? When I was first starting, I would put podcasters in my ear and I would learn to like hear their cadence and hear what they were saying. And I would extract, what did the podcaster say? And can I understand what they said? And what was their one takeaway? So really just like surrounding yourself with constant, not necessarily inspiration, but again, the exposure of what other thought leadership is looking like so that when you get into it, you kind of have your own voice.
What is it that you're working on when it comes to a speaker on stage?
Yeah. I would say, well, I'm an introvert.
Really?
So I don't even want to be up there. Let's just start there. I want to be there, but
how do you even define an introvert?
Yes. So introvert is energy, right? Okay. So in a room filled with people, I'll say I want to be there because I want to serve.
Yeah.
But innately, my energy is a room filled with people is a lot of energy. And I do prefer, behind the scenes, which is why I do the work that I do. But for myself as a speaker, it's just really being playful up there. My word of the year this year, I'm going to drop it here.
Let's go. You heard it first.
Is Love a Girl, LUVAGURL. And the reason why is because last year's was Becoming, which I thought it was about shining and stardom and all those sexy, fancy things. But come to find out, it was all the work we've been talking about, the inner work, releasing strongholds, releasing where idolatry was in play and how idolatry played in the things I was building, going back to validation and approval and really building from that space. And so now Love a Girl is about what lights me up, what gives me joy. I have like zero urgency to anything. I'm attached to almost nothing now.
Wow.
And now, so Love a Girl, if you're not attached to things, if I'm not attached to if Alex liking me or not, if I'm not attached to if this gets 1 view or 1,000 views, if I'm not attached to, if this has 10 clients come from it or 0 or 1 TEDx talk application or not, and I'm just going up on stage and I want to be playful. I want to have fun. And speaking so often, people extract the play. And the reason why they extract the play is because executive present, death by professionalism. I am.
Just shut off. Hold on a second. Time out. We're keeping this in, though. We're not even going to take this out. No space on the card.
Is this where we wrap?
No, definitely not. That's weird. Well, we lost the both camera, but we still got these. So we're rolling.
Let's do
no
it.
Space on the memory card. I guess I didn't empty it out. I don't know. But anyways,
nice.
Okay. Do you know where you're at?
You're
talking about Love a Girl.
Oh, yeah. So Love a Girl is just, you asked me about being on stage and what I'm working on. It's continue to play. Because if you can play in the content that you're sharing, it's like going up there and saying, let's be really serious and learn about marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be really serious about, no one wants to sign up for that.
Yeah.
Right? But people want to be in a space of play. And you can have innovation and play. You can have disruption and joy and delight. And that doesn't mean fake or forced humor or fake or forced, I'm not there to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much of my self-love a girl is now to be, I'm weird. I'm a nerd.
Yeah. And embracing
I'm too
that.
much to 9 out of 10 people. But that's what makes me the innovator and the visionary that I am. And so many of us are like, okay, but I'll be an innovator, a visionary, but I will have executive presence and I will speak a certain way and I will answer, which is great.
Yeah.
There's rooms for that and spaces for that. But really on stage is when I walk off stage and in the coaching I can be that. But on stage, I should be the most playful variation of myself, the most approachable, accessible version of myself. Because a lot of the work that I work in is when I meet speakers, they keep, we'll say what most people call the audience, but remember listeners and activators, at a stiff arm distance away. You're there and I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what play does?
Removes that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Did she just say sexy? Wait, how is she that? Did she just say, and is she in a mini skirt and heels? Because how is she what she is, but she's in a mini skirt and heels and she's saying sexy and she builds it. But that's me.
Yeah.
If I showed up today in a suit, I would be.
I'm the same way. Look at me. I try to be just myself. People ask me, I have clients that are like, what should I wear for my videos? And I always tell them like, wear what you're comfortable wearing and what you would wear. And I always say there's different variances of that. So like my kind of dress up is like a polo and khakis or something, right? That's my like suit and tie.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So if I go up to that level, it's there usually, unless I'm like a wedding or something like that. And then my comfortable kind of casual stuff is like a nice fitted shirt, jeans, whatever, and if I'm at home, it's probably sweatpants or whatever. But I just think I try to be myself. And I think that I don't think that people, and if they did, I wouldn't care and I just wouldn't work with them. I don't think they judge me because I'm not wearing a suit today. Yep. And if they do, it's like, you're not my people. I want you to judge me by my character and how I show up, not what kind of suit I have.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that you should show up looking like a slob, like I think there's a little bit of a balance there. You need to be presentable, but you got to be you.
Yeah. And it makes me think about, I had a health coach and was a wellness coach, and she said, your body is not a dumb bucket and your listeners and activators are not. So they're going to know. Remember that energetic exchange?
Yeah.
They're going to know. They're going to feel it. Even if you don't think it, they're not dumb buckets.
Yes. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right? Like they're not dumb buckets. They know. They're like, okay, this sounds very rehearsed. This is something he's done 100 times and they're going to feel it. And there's charming things you can say like, okay, let's be honest. I've done this 100 times, but you know what? Enough of that. Let me just speak to you.
Yes.
I
think we crave more of the realness now than ever before because of all the AI and the technology and things like that. That's what I try. My vision for this podcast is to be a place where founders can come and aspiring founders can come and just be real.
Correct.
And talk about the real shit that's going on, not the, okay, Donna Marie Post. So what's one thing that, and it's just like, it feels it's just not authentic, if you want to say that, or real or whatever it is. But to me, it's getting deep. Yeah. And when you get deep, that's where the impact is. Yes. That's where someone listening today says, I'm going to start being more myself. I'm going to show up to this event or on LinkedIn or whatever it is, being more of me and being comfortable with that and really embracing it, even though it will be uncomfortable. The breakthroughs. And that's what I'm looking for because it goes back to the listeners. I want to make an impact on them. I want them to listen to this and go, this changed my life.
And speaking to the AI part, right? You mentioned the AI part.
Your face when you said that.
I was like, the AI part. Here's my thing is, this is going to probably be not the norm.
I got to make sure you stay on the mic.
Or not the norm. Is AI has made me more of myself. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
AI, I use it every single day, and it's made me more of myself. And the reason why is because I look at it and I think to myself, and I'm going to be one of those weirdos. I name my AI. And my AI, I say just like, I tell it, I go, you're not very innovative. I'll say, you're not very great at what you do, but you're great at other things. But what it does is it mirror backs the things that I can do and it can't.
Yeah.
And so many people are so focused on I'm not saying, no, it's not going to take, it's not jobs and all the things, I'm aware of all of that. But also it's like, be open to that AI can help you. It mirrors back who you're true are because you actually can be a skeptic to AI. Like I'll ask it like, what are some great TEDx Arlington Heights themes for this year? It does not give good themes.
No.
I'll be like, can you come up with like a couple great like activities to do? It does not. That mirrors back, oh, I am creative.
That's a good point.
I'm an innovative. I'm a visionary. And then I'll be like, hey, should I go see Alex and bring him a flower? Do dudes like flowers? Should I bring flowers? And it'll say something that I don't agree with. And I'll be like, yeah, that doesn't feel aligned with me. So it mirrors back and shows me, it helps me become more myself because it's like that friend that says, this is what it's like. And I can go, no. And it shows my alignment. So it actually helps me a lot. And so in regards to curation, so curation for TEDx talks and curation for keynotes is one, I can sniff an AI generated content a mile away. I love AI slop. It's actually a game for me.
Yeah.
I'll actually go on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
I'll try to find a bunch of it and I'll be like, can I figure out which lines or which weren't? But I think AI does a great job of being able to say, I use it already. I don't know if other people do this, but I go in and I come up with a creative idea. And then I go in and I ask AI and I'll say, does this exist? But I won't say what the word is because I don't want to give it away. And it'll say, no, these exist in this form. Like I'll say, let me make up something. We'll call it like the mirrored success story. I'm just making something up. Does the mirrored success story an innovative phrase? Does this, or we'll call it a mural hippopotamus. I'm going wild here. Right? Because you should be innovative things that are sick. So you laughed.
Yeah,
so if I said that on stage, you see what happened?
Yeah.
This
Totally.
is, people aren't willing to do that.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to make this up. You know, a mirrored hippopotamus is something that reflects back all of the big insecurities that are sitting right in the room next to you, but you don't want to see them, but they're as big as a hippopotamus, but they're mirroring it. And so I'll take mirrored hippopotamus that I just made up, and I'll go to AI and I'll say, okay, I'm thinking, I'm nerdy, I'm crazy, I'm a little bit wild, and I'm a speaker, and I'd like to, does mirrored hippopotamus, I won't say mirrored hippopotamus, like, does there anything, I might say the name for it because I don't want to give it totally away, and I'll say it doesn't exist, and if it doesn't, then I'll go to Google, I'll try to search it to see if it's not. And the key for innovation outside of skepticism and curiosity is to go and look and create phrases and things that don't exist. Nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to say inspire, activate, elevate. Everyone wants to, right?
It's every
right?
website.
Be you,
B2B
be you,
website,
be
yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Say wild things.
Yeah.
And use AI. And so that AI can mirror back what your true self is what I'm going back to say.
I've heard a lot of perspectives on AI, especially on this podcast. I've not heard that one before. That was actually refreshing.
Yeah, let
it's
it
a good
be
take.
because you're going to be a skeptic.
Yeah.
Be like, no, that's not true. Or here's the thing. It doesn't need to be true for the world.
Yeah.
Don't be so, as a speaker or the content and the thought leadership you're putting out there and the thought leadership ecosystem you're creating, is it true for you? So I can ask it right now, should I go stand on 300 stages and what are some things I should do? And it's going to give you 10 things you should do before you go on stage. And you might you're going to read all 10 and go, ask yourself, what's aligned with you?
Yeah.
What's true to Alex? And maybe only 2 of those are, but so many of us are, let AI reflect back what your alignment is. It can be a partner, like a dance in a way.
That's right. So we recently got into a new year. It's 2026 now. What is, I'm excited for this year. It's going to be epic.
Yeah.
What is one thing that right now that you know you need to do for you or your business or both, but you're not doing yet because you're either scared or there's some type of fear or insecurity?
Your work.
What do you
Which
mean?
is being behind a video camera, short form content.
You're killing it.
Yeah. Thank you. This
Yeah.
pump.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Is, again, that whole, I'm okay with visibility because I'm okay with serving.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with often, the true version of myself that I'm in a leopard print, see-through heels, bright lipstick. I'm okay with all of that. It's the production of all of that. The performance of putting up the lights and not even the technology, but the whole routine and the production that comes into that feels overwhelming and daunting. It's like every single post or video feels like I need an hour nap after it. I post on LinkedIn, and as an introvert, after I post on LinkedIn, I need an hour just to recover from that exposure and visibility. So I'm really working on putting myself out there. Have you not started yet? I've done one video.
Nice.
And the curiosity. So I'm not going to, I would say, don't create a goal, just stay curious. And so I'm going to stay curious. And that's my hope, is to stay curious, of showing up, like you said, however I am, wherever I'm at, and putting on the camera and sharing thought leadership and meeting people where they're at, because I'm serving them, and being from that space and doing the work I share with people on big stage. It's not about me, but so you're a master at that.
Well,
so I'll just keep watching you.
I look at,
and what would you say to me?
I appreciate that, but I look at myself as like, I'm just getting started. I always feel, and I think that's important, and you probably feel the same way of being on stage. It's just like, I'm learning every day. I'm curious every day. I'm growing every day. What I did yesterday means nothing. I got to come out and do it today. I'm grateful for my experiences. I've learned from my experiences.
Yes.
They've been really wonderful, but I need to come out and find a way to pull more out and give more,
like
and
evolution,
change, and evolve and get better. And I enjoy that. I enjoy working on my craft, whether it's podcasting as a host, whether it's creating short form videos, whether it's growing the business, whatever it is. I like that process of trying to get better. It's fun. So, I think that's an important perspective to have, is always because you can get to a certain point, maybe you get a certain amount of followers, or you have your content as well, or you get a little bit known, or you have some success, whatever it is. You can be like, I'm the fucking learner,
There's
man,
that
or
ego,
whatever.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
and I think you always just go back to, I'm just that guy who had an idea and decided to start a side hustle and able to turn into a business, quit his full-time job, and he's doing what he loves.
Let's go.
And he's
Say
just,
it again. Savor the people in the back.
Yeah, exactly. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. This was an awesome conversation. We could keep talking for hours, I'm
Our
sure.
date is over.
It's over, unfortunately, but maybe we'll have you back for round 2. I'd love to do that.
I get to interview you next.
Okay, let's do
promise?
it. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
On camera, people.
And one camera's out. No, it's not legit. No, I'm kidding. But you'll get a lot of good video content from this. Yes. And this is what I encourage people to do, is have conversations like this and record it, because it doesn't feel so heavy creating, and you get to really show up as yourself in a lot of ways and create meaningful content for other people. So where can people go to find you, learn more about what you guys have going on this year, any of that stuff? Yeah.
So you follow me on LinkedIn at Donna Marie Post, and also you can follow us on LinkedIn at TEDx Arlington Heights. And then my website for my keynote consulting is DonnaMariePost.com.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
It was a joy.
My pleasure.
Thanks for being able to share the time together.
Thanks.